You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. Bitcoin, Ether, Solana, Doge, and more. Cryptocurrencies and digital assets are taking the financial world by storm. This exploding market provides everything a savvy trader needs: volatility, volume, and liquidity, provided you know how to find it. That's where we come in. Welcome to the Crypto Rundown. Each week, we'll break down the latest trading activity, trends, and developments throughout the world's leading crypto derivatives markets. If it's moving the crypto markets, then you'll find it on the Crypto Rundown. The Crypto Rundown is brought to you by Amber Data. If you're entering the digital asset class, you'll need access to granular on-chain and market data from multiple venues to power research, trading, risk management, and compliance. Amber Data delivers comprehensive data and insights into blockchain networks, crypto markets, and decentralized finance, empowering financial institutions to apply traditional finance methods to digital assets. Amber Data eliminates the infrastructure setup, integration challenges, and maintenance headaches to access digital asset data, reducing cost and time to market to enter the digital asset class. Learn more and download their digital asset data guide at www.amberdata.io. Now it's time to dive into the exploding world of crypto derivatives. It's time for the Crypto Rundown.
All right, everybody. That music means we are back once again. It is time once again for the Crypto Rundown. Hope you're having a good start to your trading week. It's pretty wild out there. A lot to get to. My name, of course, Mark Longo from the optionsinsider.com, as well as from the network upon which all of you folks are binging and mainlining these days. If you want to check out what's cooking on the Pro, we got a lot of great stuff popping off. We got a great discussion. If you like all the vol talk we have on this show, we do delve into crypto on the Pro Q&As as well. And he's been known to happen with our next guest, Mr. Scott Nations, coming up tomorrow. Of course, we had awesome, unique, one-of-a-kind volatility deathmatch on the Pro Q&A last week, listeners. So that was just a wild time. Check it out if you haven't. It's just a wild time out there. Nothing else like it. The vol deathmatch. You owe it to yourself to check it out. theoptionsinsider.com/pro is the place to go to learn more. As we learn who's joining us on the old Crypto Rundown program today, I'm pleased to welcome back our old pal, Mr. Bill, a.k.a. Bill Ulivieri from Cenacle Capital Management. Mr. Bill, welcome back to the Crypto Rundown, sir. How are things in Cenacle land since last we chatted?
You know, things are pretty exciting. I was able to present to a room full of investment advisors about 2 weeks ago with the Grayscale Group. So I was in front of about 120 different investment advisors. And with the show of hands, how many advisors incorporate crypto into their client accounts? A whopping 2 people raised their hand.
I was just going to ask you, how big was the response from
Mark,
that crowd? Wow.
We are so early, I cannot even contain myself.
Wow.
I thought I missed it. No, we're still so early.
So yeah, I was going to ask you, does that make you happy that there's still opportunity there, or is it a little sad that it hasn't penetrated yet?
No, it makes me really happy. I'm really happy because I feel like, you try to skate to where you think the puck could be, and I feel like maybe everything has already passed by me based on my Twitter feed and my LinkedIn feed. But I'm telling you, when you see a room of 120 to 140 investment advisors and only 2 of them raise their hands, there's a thirst for knowledge, and the Grayscale guys did a great job of presenting.
There you go. advisor community, I think, to put it charitably, at least 5 years to a decade behind the times on most things. It doesn't surprise me that they're a little behind on the crypto adoption. We have a whole show about the advisor's option, and they're slowly warming up to options. We've been talking about them for over a decade. So yeah, they take a while. They take a while, Mr. Bill, to get lured to the dark side. But
things go so slow.
This show, listeners, is all about the dark side. So let's get to it. A little bit of the old Bitcoin breakdown.
It's time to explore the latest trending activity, trends, and developments across the world's leading crypto market. It's time for the Bitcoin Breakdown.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Bitcoin Breakdown, the portion of the show where we do just that. We break down all the action in the world's leading digital asset. Yep, it's the big dog, good old BTC, looking oddly similar to what it was looking like on the show last week, listeners. Last week on the show, it was 108, 159. We did drift higher in the interim. Middle of last week on Wednesday, we got up to almost 110,000, about 109,700. Drifting back down now as of showtime. In fact, we're almost literally unched on the week. I mean, unless you count 67 handles as a big move, which we all know Bitcoin can do that in about 2 seconds. So down 67 handles on the week, which I consider unched. Mr. Bill, a rare kind of quiet week on the Bitcoin front. But then again, we are heading into the early summer months, sir. What's been catching your eye in the world of Bitcoin since the last time we chatted?
Right. So, I mean, a lot of things have come up on my screen, Mark. So first of all, Bitcoin did trade, according to my screen, about 111,523 roughly is the high. Super encouraged that it did break out above its 2025 previous high in January of this year. And then last year's high, right around 106,110. So as far as I can tell, we have confirmation of the banana zone being still in effect. We have incredible adoption by... So the latest thing is something called a Bitcoin Treasury operation. There are companies that are doing the Michael Saylor thing where they're issuing debt, issuing securities, issuing convertible bonds, and they're buying Bitcoin. And I'm going to talk about one of those a little bit later in the afternoon, maybe one that's flown under the radar. But boy, oh boy, I mean, Bitcoin is just lit going into, I think, this fall. In the next 6 months are going to be amazing, I think, for this.
A good old BTO, a Bitcoin Treasury operation, Mr. Bill. All right, I'm looking forward to it. You're right, topping out back, it was in late May, so almost exactly a month ago, right around the 111, almost 112 level. And not that far away from that right now. Let's just imagine a couple more of those advisors, Bill, raise their hand. We get up to 5, and man, imagine where Bitcoin could be then, sir. Let alone a whopping 10, dare to dream out there.
And listen, yeah, these are people with hundreds of millions of dollars in AUM.
Exactly,
I mean, it was impressive. There's once they get on, boy, they're going to be on board big.
It takes them a while. You got to lead them to water for a while, but once they drink, they could suck down the whole river. So yeah, it's an interesting audience, to put it mildly, out there, listeners. Is that audience, are they experiencing a lot of vol this week? Remember, if you want to check out these analytics for yourselves, listeners, amberdata.io, the place to go to kick the tires and light the fires. If you did that, you would see that we're hanging out pretty close to where we were on the vol front last week and this week, listeners. Again, it's the start of summer, getting close to it at least, not the official start yet. But post-Memorial Day, most people consider that the start of summer unofficially. And vol kind of treading water as you would expect, 37.8 on the weekly Bitcoin vol. Last week, 36.3 this week. Going out to the monthly vol, similar story at a 40 even on the show last week, a 39 this week. So pretty much right around the same level. And also getting somewhat low if you know anything about all things Bitcoin vol. And then going out to where the hodlers are hanging out, literally unchanged on the week, 46.3 last week, 46.3 this week. So no evolution on the 6-month vol front. Is the skew telling us anything else? Is the skew telling us we're poised for a big move in either direction in Bitcoin right now? The answer is pretty much no, listeners. It's still kind of vacillating around flat. Last week, the weekly skew was a -3, which I would consider, -0.3, which I would consider to be flat. This week, it's a -1, which is still pretty close to flat. Anything plus or minus a point in either direction is pretty much flat to me. So a -1, not pricing in a heck of a lot of concern or interest to the downside. Going out to the monthly skew, it's pretty much the same deal. We were almost a +1 on the show last week. This week, it has swung to a -1, I should say. But other than that, still not a heck of a lot going on out there on the skew front. If we go out to where the hodlers play, listeners, we were talking about this with Greg on the show a few weeks ago, the notion of this long-term crypto premium to the upside, the calls trading at a premium to the puts out there, listeners. That had gone away. We were down to about a 0.5, which is pretty much flat. It had ticked up to 1.5 again on the show last week. I thought, hey, maybe some of that longer-term upside premium starting to rear its head again, and then back to a 0.5 this week, so don't get too excited. So, Mr. Bill, week on week, a whole lot of nothing on the Bitcoin vol and skew front. Anything catching your eye out there, sir?
I am absolutely blown away, Mark, that the implied volatility for IBIT, that exchange-traded fund, that's trading at about 30.36. MicroStrategies, when that was going crazy in the beginning of this year, MicroStrategy's implied volatility was like 140 to 160. Now that's down to 44 and change. So all the air has come out of Bitcoin, out of cryptocurrency. I don't know what's going on. Is this part of the adoption? Is it just part of the summer slowness in the market? But again, it's risk on. It's a risk on asset. And, we have to treat it like the Qs or like anything else, I think, because, wow, there's just destruction in implied volatility. I just did not think we'd get down to these levels.
Because of degens like you, Mr. Bill, crushing all the vol juice and MSTR and MSTU. You're killing it for everyone else, Mr. Bill.
Right. And it's these exchange traded funds like the Yield Max ETFs.
Yes. There's a lot of premium harvesting going on.
Oh my gosh.
There, right?
Well, this is what we did 30 years ago, Mark. You had both hands. You were in the pit, both hands out.
Yep.
Collecting premium.
And now it's their turn to harvest a little bit of the old risk premium. Hence these lower vol numbers. Since Bill invoked the big dog in the room these days, IBIT. Let's head there next, listener. 61.5 when we kicked off the show in IBIT. Down about 1/4 point. Not a huge move again. Kind of tracking what we're seeing in BTC spot. The ADV is 480,000. Still pretty impressive when you're considering you're heading into the summer season. That's only down about 12,000 from this time last week. So still threatening 500,000 contracts a day. Doesn't seem like it's going to get there today, but we'll see. Still about an hour left. 320,000 contracts on the tape out there today, listeners. If you're wondering what is the big dog out there today in IBIT, it is nearly 40,000 of the 62 calls expiring this Friday. So slightly out of the money calls. Let's look really quickly, see what are those bad boys trading for. They're trading for around 50 to 75 cents. I don't know, Mr. Bill, does that float your boat? 62 calls expiring this Friday for anywhere from 50 to 75 cents. Is that a exciting trade, or is that sold to you? You want that juice?
That's a great question. Let's see. I'm looking at my options screen right now. That was the June 62 call, Mark, were you saying?
Yes, expiring this Friday.
Right. So and my screen's like 82-bit at 85 on the June 62s that expire on the 20th. Yeah, I would take those. Sure. I mean, listen, you just got to keep chipping away. Again, not for the sake of just collecting option premium, but to use that to buy, other ETFs that could enhance the portfolio. So yes, I would do that. As a matter of fact, I might do it when you step away for just a minute. I'm gonna sell some of these 62 puts.
Start hitting those bids, Mr.
Right,
Bill.
hit the bid.
Never met an option he didn't want to sell, Mr. Bill. Maybe you're a little bit more judicious in BITO, though. The volume there continues to trend in the wrong direction. We might at this point have to take BITO off the tape for a little bit if it keeps trending downward, listeners. BITO 2160 right now, off about 15 cents. So again, kind of unched on the week. The ADV 27,000 contracts a day. That's down another 4,000. So continuing to move in the wrong direction. Only about 20,000 contracts on the tape right now, listeners. So not exactly a banger out there. And let's get out. Speaking of bangers, Mr. Bill, I still kind of joke about this as being the product for crypto degenerates out there. But apparently there's a lot of degens out there, Mr. Bill, because MSTU has kind of exploded into the mainstream. It used to be just kind of this wild levered beast for the folks who thought MSTR was too boring. They wanted a levered MSTR. Enter MSTU. A 780 this week, listeners, down 60 cents. 116,000 contracts on the tape again today, Mr. Bill. So this thing is starting to really light up the tape At this point, you're talking 5x what BITO was putting up. So wild numbers out here. The ADV is only 58,000. I say only. That's still double what BITO is doing. That's down about 1,000, but we're seeing big spikes in long-term calls. In fact, we talked about it on the show last week, listeners. We said, hey, 91,000 of the DS9 calls were trading for 275 last week. Do you like that trade, or would you sell them, or would you buy them, or would you sell them maybe as part of a covered call? So buy MSTU, sell the 9s. Again, they were for around $2.75. And 56.3% of you said you wanted to straight buy them. I guess you wanted a cheaper bite at the apple rather than paying about $8 for MSTU. And the other 43.8% of you agree with me. You said MSTU is for degenerates. Fast forward to this week, and they're trading again, listeners, so they are not done. Nearly 80,000 more of the DS9s going up this, and that is also opening, so they are not taking them off. So, Mr. Bill, this MSTU continues to be a wild, untamed beast, and some large fund or something has really just grokked to some longer term, slightly out of the money calls, and they're putting size where their mouth is, sir. What do you think?
I'm impressed. I mean, I certainly understand it. Looking again in my feed of crypto Twitter, we have this huge expansion in institutional adoption. The Bitcoin Treasury companies becoming more popular, the Bitcoin Treasury operation, and global liquidity. Like, everything else is noise, and we have the global money supply is increasing at a very high rate. The U.S. dollar broke 100 on that index. Like, we need a lower dollar. We need lower rates. The entire world is dropping rates except the U.S. right now. We may see something, shortly. But it just seems to me that if you're going to take a shot on Bitcoin, on MSTR, and everything that we believe in, quote unquote, I mean, that you're aping into a great trade. And maybe this is something that we should do, besides owning Shiba Inu, like just load up the boat on this MSTU. Although I tell you, I don't fully understand how the double beta and triple beta funds work. So I've always stayed away from it. I guess we got hurt as a firm, back after the Great Recession, trading the VXX options and VXX trades. So I kind of stay away from things I don't fully understand. But then, of course, on the other side, I do ape into things that I think I know. I think I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, this is a product for the hardcore and the degens right there, listeners. We'll put it out for you folks so you can see it if you follow us on Twitter out there. But yeah, wild stuff on the tape here in good old MSTU. Again, nearly 80,000 of those bad boys hitting the tape today. So somebody really likes themselves. A little bit of the DS9s. Did you like them last week? Maybe you like them a little bit better this week at prices around 215. So I guess that's the bonus of this. If you waited a week, you get a fire sale. They were 275 this time a week ago. Is there a fire sale in the altcoin universe? I guess let's find out, listeners.
It's time to move beyond Bitcoin and find out what's moving the rest of the crypto marketplace. It's time to boldly venture into the Altcoin Universe.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Altcoin Universe, the portion of the show where we dive into what's lighting up the tape outside of the big dog, which is Bitcoin, except for right now where we dive into a little market cap talk. It's always fun to see how the market cap story has evolved week over week. And last week, it cost you a little bit north of 24 billion, 24.1 billion to break into the top 10. That got you to our old pal Cardano. This week, you're still hanging out at Cardano for number 10, but it only cost you about 23.1 billion to break into the top 10. So shaving a billion off the top. What's a billion in market cap amongst friends, listeners? Number 9, it's Tron, 26.5 billion. Number 8, it's Doge, 26.8 billion. So not much separating 8 and 9 this week. Number 7, USD Coin, 61.6. Man, that's quite a jump from 8 to 7, isn't it? And then number 6, our old pal Solana, 83.3 billion. Number 5, it's BNB, 92.5 billion. Number 4, it's Bill's wife's favorite crypto on the planet. It is XRP, 136.2 billion worth of market cap. Number 3, it's Tether, 155.5. Number 2, it's ETH, $319 billion, and the big dog once again this week, Bitcoin, listeners, $2.1 trillion worth of market cap. Mr. Bill, how are things going? How is the wife's love of XRP going, sir?
You know, she loves XRP as much as she loves me. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, listen, so we'll be celebrating our 39th wedding anniversary this year. And my wife and I have this joke, as I'm sure many married couples do, is that I love you, but I don't always like you. Like that kind of conversation. So she likes me, she loves me, but she loves XRP.
Wow. Interesting. Hardcore. That's a
Totally.
crypto wife. She could take or leave the husband, but she loves the crypto.
She loves the crypto. That's right. That's right. It's actually, we have some great conversations about it, so it's fun.
Well, listeners, do you talk with your wife or significant other about all things crypto, or do you save it exclusively for listening to shows like this? Is it your private secret fun? I don't know. Hit us up. Let us know, listeners, as we see what's going on in the number 2 out there. You know, Bill, since the last time you and I chatted, ETH has gone on a little bit of a run. The last time we talked, things were looking pretty dire in ETH land. This was about exactly a month ago, you and I. And ETH was at the time pretty much the number one losingest asset that we track on the futures side over there in the futures rundown show, or pretty close to it. And it seemed like things were dire, off 45, nearly 50%. Then over the past month and change, it went on this really extreme run, gaining back about half of what it lost on the year. It's still not unched for the year, but only down, I put only in air quotes, only down about 25% now. And gaining some more back this week, listeners. It was 25.70 on the show. Last week, 26.43. This week's up about 73 handles on the week, where if you're an ETH bull, you'll take every point to the upside that you can get. Mr. Bill, what are your thoughts on this somewhat surprising resurgence in ETH since the last time we chatted? Have you been out there buying ETH? What's going on, Bill?
No. It's really interesting, though. But I see some news coming in my feed where large companies are talking up Ethereum, that they want to do the same thing with the balance sheet on the corporate side. Rather than a Bitcoin Treasury operation, it's going to be an Ethereum Treasury operation. Mike Novogratz from Galaxy Digital, he's talked a lot about Ethereum and other products. Brevin Howard, massive hedge fund. I mean, they're huge. Like they have a crypto arm. They've been aggressively taking positions in Ethereum. And, you know, the list just goes on and on, that it's not happening the way I thought it would with this Michael Saylor Bitcoin Treasury versus like other companies. But I tell you, this could be a really interesting wave of adoption by companies that have lagged in P&L, lagged in revenue, lagged in asset growth, to put this crypto on their balance sheet. I think it's fascinating. I think it's the new way. It's going to be the new thing.
The new way. All these struggling meme stocks like GameStop, they put all their remaining money in the Bitcoin or ETH basket and they roll the bones, right, Mr. Bill?
Roll the bones, yeah.
Well, let's see what's rolling out there in ETH land this week. Things getting a little bit spicier on the vol front. So if you're looking for a little bit, some premium harvesting, and Bitcoin just ain't doing it for you for obvious reasons. We're talking high 30s vol levels sometimes in Bitcoin right now. ETH, a little bit juicier right now. The weekly vol hanging out at a 71 3/4. That's up from a 64 last week. Similar vol levels on the monthly vol front, a 71 right now. We were at a 65 last week. So juicing up a little bit, gaining about 6 points. So again, if you're looking for a little bit of juice, then maybe you could do worse than harvesting a little bit of premium in ETH. And going out 6 months, the vol last week, 65.6, this week up to about a 67. That said, you hear those numbers, it's going to imply to you a little bit of juice creeping back into the upside in ETH skew. After all, we're going up and vol's increasing, so that usually tends to follow the other in that sense, listeners. Not so much on the weekly skew. That's kind of the same as it was last week, pretty much flat, almost a 0.1 last week and almost a 0.1 this week to the upside. But on the monthly skew, getting a little bit more bullish, a little bit more optimistic. Positive 2.4 on the show last week, positive 4 this week. So maybe, dare I say it, are the bulls starting to peek their head out in ETH? All it takes was a massive rally over the course of the past month to get some people to start paying attention again. Monthly, I should say the 6-month skew out there in ETH, not so much going on there. It's a positive 3.3 last week and about the same level right now, positive 3.2. So the longer term hodlers not exactly diving in droves, but there you go. if you're looking for some rays of sunshine, some rays of optimism to sprinkle into your crypto portfolio on the ETH front, there you go, listeners. A little bit of bullish optimism. Can we say the same for the rest of the altcoin universe? Let's find out. Solana, 156.44 on the show last week, 157.97 this week, up about $1.50. So in the annals of Solana, not the wildest week we've seen. XRP, Bill's wife's favorite holding, 231 on the show last week. And guess what? Today, as we kicked off the show, exactly 231s. I don't know, Mr. Bill, I guess your wife's mood is unchanged on the week, sir.
I'll definitely rub that in her face as much as I can.
Over dinner. By the way, XRP is unchanged.
Yes.
And your meatloaf is terrible.
It's cold.
Bill's other favorite, Doge, 18.6 cents last week, 17.9 cents. So giving up a little over a half a penny there. Litecoin, 90 3/4 last week, 88.16 this week, down a little over $2.50 on the week. Cardano, 68.1 cents last week, 65.2 cents, down nearly 3 cents. Polkadot, 405 last week, 398. So not a lot going on there, only down about 7 cents. And cover your ears, chat. Shiba Inu, a million zeros, 126 last week, this week, 122. So unfortunately, no Shiba Lambos again this week. Mr. Bill, what else is catching your eye and what's burning a hole in your wallet in the altcoin universe this week, sir?
Okay, well, I just, you know me, Mark, I can't stick to the script no matter what, but there is a stock that's traded in Japan. It is not a crypto. The company is Metaplanet. Metaplanet is the new MicroStrategy. So it's a hotel company that, they incorporated around 1999, I think it was. The CEO of Metaplanet, Simon Jerovich, he presented at the Bitcoin conference a few weeks ago I think this was in Las Vegas. And what they're doing is they're raising massive amounts of capital because, the Japanese are just addicted to aggressive, almost, part of the economy of Japan is very stoic and big savers. On the other hand, there's a contingent where they love to gamble, quote unquote gamble. So Simon is doing what Michael Saylor's doing, but he's doing it in Japan. The stock's trading about $13.26 a share. It's listed overseas, although they have a U.S. office and a Japanese office, and they're doing an arb between U.S. dollars, Japanese yen. They're selling convertible bonds over in Japan. And so I bought some of this Metaplanet for our DGen clients, and I say DGen with the greatest affection. And this is going to be, they say if right now Metaplanet owns more Bitcoin than Coinbase. That blew me away when I saw that statistic. So they are massively, aggressively acquiring Bitcoin as part of their treasury operations. And if they hit to where they think where the target is, stock is trading 13. It could be somewhere between the low to mid 30s up to the mid 50s by the end of this year, if they achieve their Bitcoin targets. So they're just massively scooping up Bitcoin. And so we'll see how it goes. So Metaplanet, MTPLF, the Japanese company, you got to pay a $50 foreign transaction fee if you buy it through, your broker dealer. So just know that. Do your due diligence. But that's my new altcoin is Metaplanet. I'm digging it. I'm buying it for myself. I'm buying it for a few clients, and let's see how it goes.
Looks like there's a lot of people paying that fee today, Mr. Bill. The stock's up 20% just today. So folks are liking a little MTPLF. Been a wild year here, listeners. The stock was $1.60 a year ago, so trading $13.11, up $11.50 or 720% on the year. It's like it had a nice spike back in May as well, up to 15 and actually 16 even, before coming back to earth down to about $7 on May 23rd. So this one's been a wild one out here, listeners. Are you down with a little Metaplanet? Since we're talking Bitcoin still, Mr. Bill, you mentioned the Bitcoin Treasury operation. You want to talk a little bit about those with our audience here?
Well, sure. In essence, like you and I both understand how we could sell option volatility and use the income that's generated to buy intrinsic value, like spot Bitcoin. That's pretty much what Michael Saylor is doing, except he's selling, securities. Publicly traded companies exist for the sole purpose of issuing securities. Is Michael Saylor's strategy, his theory? So he sells convertible bonds. He sells shares. They're converting the implied volatility, and they're their SEC approved securities, I guess you could say, and buying Bitcoin. That's the theory. So what, and again, I just started doing this for 3 or 4 small businesses. I was chatting with some friends who have their account at a large bank for their small business. These are solopreneurs. They've got between $10 and say $100,000 sitting, earning nothing in their checking account. I'm like, well, bring it over to Schwab. Let's open up a non-corporate organizational chart. The bare minimum, an organizational account, the bare minimum, let's take 90% of your portfolio of your cash that's earning nothing at a bank. We'll buy a money market fund that pays 4.14 at that. Let's take 5% of your cash that you're not using, just sitting there, quote unquote, just in case. And we'll buy IBIT. We'll buy Bitcoin. Because if Bitcoin returns what it has been for the last 15, well, it's almost since 2009, your aggregate rate of return will be somewhere between 9.5% and 14% annually, right? So we're not going to invest in so much Bitcoin that's going to hurt your cash flow of your business, but you need to merge with Bitcoin as a corporate business relationship, a win-win strategy. So the theory is, with Bitcoin operations, you are using unused cash, earning nothing in a checking account, and you're going to use it for some risk-free treasuries, and you're going to use a portion of that to buy Bitcoin. Because again, remember, 21 million maximum Bitcoin, 19.8 million are already gone, right? You don't have that much left. So that was a very quick 35,000 foot view of what the Bitcoin Treasury operation is. You buy Bitcoin as a corporation, as an LLC, as a small business owner, and you use that to drive your business growth versus your peers, because there's nobody else, very few people are doing it.
All right, Mr. Bill, that music means we've come to the end. Man, quite the journey today. Bitcoin Treasury operations, Metaplanet, ETH maybe back on the menu this week after getting kicked to the curb for the better part of the past year. Your wife just loves XRP. A lot of wild things going on the show today, Mr. Bill. But before we go, anything else you want to leave with the folks? Or if they want to check out what you got cooking over there in the land of Cenacle, where should they go? What should they do?
Yeah, CenacleCapital.com. That's Cenacle, C-E-N-A-C-L-E, capital.com. Look for me, Bill Ulivieri, on LinkedIn, and feel free to send a LinkedIn connection. I love chatting with people interested in crypto and options and all these things that we talk about. And Mark, you know about the book for estate planners on Bitcoin recovery. I just did an interview with Barron's, so I'm super stoked to hopefully buy a few copies for my dad and my sister and my wife, even though, all she wants to talk about is XRP. I'll bring home a copy of Barron's.
Did you mention XRP in the interview? If not, she doesn't want to.
No. But no. I wish. But I'll leave a copy of the issue on her side of the bed. Maybe she'll see it before long. But anyhow, that's it. Yeah, let's have a conversation. If you're a small business owner, let's get you started with a Bitcoin Treasury operation for your LLC. And Mark, I expect to be contacted by you also, because you're going to ape into a little bit of Bitcoin for all the for your hard work here for the Crypto Rundown and Options Insider.
I don't have enough of all the other altcoin on the planet. I need some of the big dog, which is Bitcoin. As maybe I'll go with your wife and we'll just load up on XRP. You never know. You never know, Mr. Bill. In the meantime, listeners, check them out. Cenacle Capital, C-E-N-A-C-L-E Capital on the old Twitter. And while you're checking things out online, you literally have no excuse not to check out the Amber data stuff anymore. That GUI that has all the cool data we're talking about here on the show, it's all completely free now. So if you're intrigued about Bitcoin, SKU, or the Vol, or ETH, or maybe you like a little Solana, they even have, I think, IBIT there now. They have a bunch of stuff there that goes beyond just the spot. So if you want to dip your toes into those waters, amberdata.io, the place to go to kick the tires and light the fires. That's going to do it for us today. Back again tomorrow on the pro side with our buddy, Mr. Scott Nations, tackling all your questions about all things Vol. If you want to participate in that, also check out the awesome Vol deathmatch that we did last week, Dr. Vix versus the Vixologist. 2 men entered, only one could emerge victorious. Who won? Well, check it out. TheOptionsInsider.com/pro is the place to go to learn more. Then we're back again with our usual array of content till we're back again next Monday. Another episode of the Crypto Rundown. Stay safe out there, everybody.
The Crypto Rundown is brought to you by Amber Data. If you're entering the digital asset class, you'll need access to granular on-chain and market data from multiple venues to power research, trading, risk management, and compliance. Amber Data delivers comprehensive data and insights into blockchain networks, crypto markets, and decentralized finance, empowering financial institutions to apply traditional finance methods to digital assets. Amber Data eliminates the infrastructure setup, integration challenges, and maintenance headaches to access digital asset data, reducing cost and time to market to enter the digital asset class. Learn more and download their digital asset data guide at www.amberdata.io. You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions@theoptionsinsider.com.